So it's now back to Scottish Premiership fixture day today, actually, and it's match day 6, although Livingston and Dundee already played each other for a 6th game, but the rest of the teams, it'll be match day 6 for them, so that's what we'll be calling the video anyway. And we have a bunch of interesting games, of course, once again in the Scottish Premiership this time around. But before we get to the predictions for that, if you are new around here, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, whether it's football related content or the SPFL RTG on FC26. A new episode for that just dropped yesterday, in fact, so if you wouldn't mind checking that out, that would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into the predictions for this weekend's Scottish Premiership fixtures. So, starting off with Dundee United against Kilmarnock at Tannadice. Dundee United, of course, coming off the back of a really quite comfortable win against Aberdeen 2-0 during the games in hand that were played for the European football, of course. Kilmarnock, they've had a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for, disappointing last couple of weeks with the last minute penalty against Celtic that was controversial, of course, and then being knocked out of the cup on penalties by St Mirren after that. So they'll be looking to try and bounce back, but I think it'll be pretty difficult for them. Although the last win that Kilmarnock had appears to be against Dundee United, so that might give them a little bit of confidence. But other than that, I don't actually see Kilmarnock picking up any points from this one, unfortunately for them, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 Dundee United win. Hearts versus Falkirk. Falkirk, of course, came back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 with Hibs on Tuesday night. And they've had a bit of an okay start to the season, probably right about where they would think they would have been at this point. Hearts, of course, have had a really good start to the season, with the exception of being knocked out of the League Cup, really. They couldn't have asked for a better start, you would imagine, in that one game against Motherwell, where they did come back from 3-0 down, to be fair. And I do think that Hearts will continue their good run of form, and I do believe that they're going to beat Falkirk. We'll go for 3-1 in this game. On to St Mirren versus Dundee. Dundee, of course, getting that last-minute penalty against Livingston last time out in league action to win 3-2. They have probably started the season better than a lot of people would have given them credit for, me included. St Mirren, of course, have had a pretty solid-ish start to the season in the Cup semi-final. Of course, they've had a fair few draws in there, some results that should have been wins. But I think they are going to win this game. Not high-scoring affair, though. I'm going to go for a 1-0 St Mirren win. And on to the last of our 3 o'clock kickoffs. We have Celtic versus Hibs at Celtic Park. Celtic coming off the back of a 1-1 draw away to Red Star Belgrade, of course. Hibs, pretty disappointing since the European run came to an end. Chucking away leads, losing in the Cup to Rangers 2-0 when there probably won't have been a better time to be playing Rangers, in all honesty, and getting through the Cup. Obviously, they just chucked away another 2-0 lead against Falkirk, so they need to start picking up a bit of form. Will it be in this game? I don't think so. Their record at Celtic Park is not very good, and I don't see that changing in this game. Celtic could rotate, because they do, of course, have another coming back from European game, and they have another European game coming up on Thursday at home to Braga, an early kickoff in that one as well, so there could be rotation, but I am going to go for a 2-0 Celtic win in this case. On to our late kickoff for today, we have Motherwell against Aberdeen. Of course, Motherwell did just knock Aberdeen out of the League Cup at Pittodrie 1-0, and I think they will beat them again in this game. Aberdeen, of course, have not scored against Premiership opposition yet this season and sit bottom of the league, and I think they're going to remain there. It is what it is. There's Jimmy Tilleen's job on the line. You know, you can give him some grace for winning the Scottish Cup, but his league form since that 3-3 draw with Hibs last season has been absolutely atrocious, and it doesn't show any signs of picking up. And since Motherwell are at home this time, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Motherwell win. And on to the game on Sunday, another 3 o'clock Sunday kickoff, same as the Kilmarnock Celtic one last time. We have Livingston against Rangers. Now, this is a tough place to go when you're playing well, so Rangers' current form, that could be even worse for them. Rangers, without doubt, they need to start picking up wins in the league to get the fans back on side, although will the fans be back on side as long as Russell Martin's there? I don't know. They did, of course, beat Premiership opposition last time out domestically, although it was in the League Cup. Livingston, of course, losing to Dundee. They're going to want to rectify that as quickly as possible and start picking up points that should see them survive. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw in this one. I don't think it's going to be a very entertaining game of football at all. Both teams kind of just struggling to break each other down, I would imagine. Could be totally wrong. Rangers could pick up their first win of the season here, or Livingston could get a win over Rangers and get some points on the board that they never expected at the start of the season. So it could go one of three ways, which of course is stating the obvious, but I just can't see anything other than a draw in this game, and I'm going to go for it being 0-0. That's going to do it for the predictions for this weekend's fixtures in the Scottish Premiership. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, and we'll see how your team gets on by the end of proceedings on Sunday to see how the league standings are looking. Of course, I think we've got one more weekend of fixtures before the next international break as well, so we'll see how we get on there. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.